Well, it started, I guess, was a bull session in a dormitory in late 1959, didn't it?
Yes.
4 A&T students got together and
Yeah.
began to talk about the situation, the black-white situation in this country. And then one of them, coming back from Christmas vacation, I think, was denied service in a bus station here in Greensboro, and that did it.
Yes, Joseph McNeil.
Yeah, right.
And I think you capitalized it pretty well. I won't repeat that, but yes, they were frustrated with Jim Crow segregation, and they decided to do something about it. They talked about it for a couple of weeks, you know.
There's a way that the community can rally behind it. I think that would be the best solution. I think the city is still willing to assist them if that is not possible. I personally think that the museum is something that is very important for this city, because when you look at the up-ticket races where, you know, people come out and vote for the president, really it's the city council that's going to affect your life on a regular basis.
Oh, sure. There's a lot of management authority that stops right here.
Absolutely.
for all it is.
Just there's something about local government. There's a passion that I have in terms of leading and serving large organizations and serving people specifically. There's nowhere like local government where the rubber actually hits the road, as I say.
I think that we need to lift citizens who are doing great things.
In fact, I performed You'll Never Walk Alone at your church.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, about 28 years ago.
Okay, that was before I was there.
Yes.
Wow. As we record this show here just a few days before Christmas, has it really sunk in yet? No.
No, and the experts tell me it's going to take actually probably a couple of months. In fact, I feel a little like a fish out of water. Things are happening, and I'm not involved, and it is odd.
Interactive Resource Center, and it's unique in the sense that it deals with the homeless, but it's not a shelter in the traditional sense. My guest is the director, Liz Seymour. Liz, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Located and how people can get there.
We are currently located at 3015 East Bessemer Avenue in the Bessemer United Methodist Church. And sometime next year we'll be moving downtown to a building that's been donated for this purpose, to the old Southern Plate Glass building on the corner of East Washington and Murrah Boulevard.
At the time I was there, even before you opened, you had people lined up outside waiting. Is this pretty typical?
It is typical, particularly for people who are sleeping outside.
Did you start out in parish ministry, or was that your intent?
Well, my intent was to go into the mission field. And when I first felt that call, I thought that meant being in the mission field meant that you would have to go overseas somewhere.
But first, I want to talk a little bit about you. You recently announced your retirement after, what, 28 years as head of urban ministry?
Yeah, I've been here 28 years at Greensboro Urban Ministry, and been involved in urban ministry just about all my ministerial career, and decided when I turned 66 I'm going to retire and join my wife, who's in retirement now. And
my guest is the retiring, and I don't mean shy, but the retiring, he's actually quitting, Executive Director of Greensboro Urban Ministry, Mike Aiken. Mike, it's good to be with you.
Great to be here with you. My wife retired several years ago, and she's been on my case. It's time for, when are you going to retire, Mike? When are you going to retire? Because both Catherine and I love the out-of-doors and doing a lot of hiking, canoeing, and a lot of physical activities.
It's my pleasure to welcome to this program the Superintendent of the Guilford County Schools, Maurice Mo Green. Thanks so much for joining us.
It's great to be here. The client that really sort of was one that I really wanted to do more and more work for was the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Board of Education. And
you could put your finger on, say, the biggest need that the Guilford County Schools have right now. What would that be?
Well, it's the need for additional resources. I'm particularly concerned about two major areas. One would be the fact that we've had to raise class size multiple times.
You see the biggest social problems that our young people face, and what's being done about that?
Sure. I speak from the demographic that we serve. So over 80% of our kids live in Greensboro Housing Authority communities. So it's a demographic all to its own. That same demographic we serve, over 80% of our club members come from single parent homes and live well below the poverty line.
Really?
And with all of those hurdles stacked up against them, they still achieve higher in all subject areas in their schools than their counterparts. So I say that to say simply that the biggest thing I think they need is just empowerment. It doesn't really matter where you live, it matters who's around you.
It's called Sylvie. Well, the full name is Bring Me Little Water Sylvie. But here is the song.
Okay. Very, very good. Thank you. With me is April Harris, who is the Special Events Manager for the City of Greensboro. April, good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Many of you may know her as April Hutchison. You've recently been married, and so therefore the name change, so congratulations on that. Who is the Executive Director of Action Greensboro. April, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to this. April is, as you'll see, very energetic, very knowledgeable, and doing a great job at Action Greensboro. I'm very happy to have as my guest the Executive Director of Action Greensboro, April Harris. April, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, you were with Downtown Greensboro.
I was.
And then you were with the City of Greensboro.
I was.
Based right here in the Cultural Center.
Right.
And from there, I guess, went to Action Greensboro.
Yeah, there's a theme there. It's
there is a theme.
Greensboro.
Right there, we could almost call you Ms. or Mrs. Greensboro, right? Yeah. I'm very happy to have as my guest on this program the still new President and CEO of the United Arts Council of Greater Greensboro, Tom Fillion. Tom, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. We learned a long time ago, I think, because the arts always have dealt with limited resources, on how to do more with less.
What did it take, and how long had you been working on
Well,
this?
I've been playing my folk guitar for a long time, and I like to think that I spoke their language a little bit.
Yeah.
And I have been involved with many festival events of this nature in the past, because I've been around a while.
Yes, you have.
And
you, but
yeah.
Give us a little bit.
Let's see. Well, his first number one hit with RCA Records was a song called Heartbreak Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that
I
one,
do
I'm sure.
indeed, yeah.
So we'll give a little piece of that. Now, it's really strange in between two guys singing Elvis. I'm not real used to that. But we'll try.
Well, if you want to, we can say, oh, hey, Elvis.
I'm in the mood. Well, since my baby left me, I found a new place to dwell. It's down at the end of Lonely Street, that's Heartbreak Hotel. I'll be so lonely, baby. I'll be so lonely. I'll be so lonely I could die. There we go.
All right, very good. Right. We'll come back and get you to do some more in just a minute. Yeah, very good. Actually, yeah. Thank you very much. Right, yeah, that was Elvis's trademark comment, wasn't it? Yeah. Time of year we're referring to on this program is the Baby Belly Bazaar, something that's become quite popular in Greensboro and something that a lot of people look forward to. Very happy to have as my guests Susan Sassman and Kenny Schulman, the perpetrators of this great event.
We're going to be actually doing belly casting, which is a thing that is a lot of fun.
And Susan has one of those at her feet.
That is a completed belly cast that one of our artists, Jezebeli's, painted afterwards. And so that's one thing. This is designed to hang on a wall. So that's one thing you can do with the belly cast.
On my immediate left is the head fairy, Susan Sassman, and to her left, Ogie Overman, who calls himself the assistant fairy.
Being her assistant fairy, I think that's what I've been aspiring to do my whole life, is Sue Sassman's assistant fairy.
Well, that's
I think
quite
I
a
finally
noble
arrived.
ambition.
I've been doing this stuff for about 30 years, and I finally made it to Sue Sassman's assistant fairy, and I'm just tickled to death.
What more could you ask?
I know.
And the pay is so good.
Oh, the pay is tremendous.
Yeah.
Just through the roof. But
Well, 6,000 to 7,000 people. It's an all-day affair. You know, it starts at 2 in the afternoon and goes till 10 o'clock at night. And we've got more dancers, more performers, more vendors, more everything this year. Bigger fire show, parasol parade, butterfly release. We got it all happening.
You've changed headpieces again. Tell us what
Yeah,
you got there.
you know, I don't know.
you got to watch her, Jay. You got to watch her.
She's tricky.
I love the headpieces and the fascinations, or the fascinators. They just really make me smile.
There's not enough time to really explain. I have to be very specific so that in a class I can go back over it again. I said, that's the point.
Yep. You're like a professor I had one time. One of the students asked him, said, tell us about the final exam. He said, well, I've been talking about it all semester.
That's right.
That's all he would
exactly
say.
right.
I'm wondering, Do most of those come to you, or do you have to go seek them out? How do you get all these things scheduled?
Yes.
That's a good answer. Next question. No, yeah. You know, I started to bring a copy of our old whirly gig so that people could see what we looked like when we had hair, but I decided I wouldn't do that.
Thanks for not doing
yeah,
that.
Right.
Have any hands up?
Well, you do have to overcome a stereotype. I know you know the classic joke about the definition of operas, where somebody gets stabbed in the back and instead of bleeding, he sings.
That's right, for about 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes.
That's right, and lots of high notes.
Yeah, right, lots of high notes. Carolina Theater, I can remember growing up, it was the place to be. We went to movies. I made my professional singing debut, if you will call it that, at the Circle K on the Carolina Theater.
There you go.
Got $3 for winning the talent show.
All right.
And I remember the sign on the side there that said the show place of the Carolinas.
That's our logo, our trademark.
You haven't lost that distinction.
No, we still call ourselves show place. Although
I think it was swimming that led to your interesting nickname. For those of you that may not know, her nickname is Moose. And I understand that came about as a result of some swimming.
It did. My husband, I was up on a starting block, and as he likes to tell people, I had a set of shoulders on me. And I was getting ready to start. It's dead quiet, and I hear, "Go Moose!" Turned around, and it was my husband. And he's called me that ever since.
Is that right? And it stuck.
And it stuck,
Other
and everybody
people do
else.
too.
So
Yeah,
I
right.
Moose everywhere.
Anyway, one of the things that I like so much about Lynn is that her office is one of the few that's more cluttered than mine is. And in all of that clutter, there are a lot of pictures, and many of those pictures show you doing exciting things like dancing, singing. Well, you know my philosophy. You're not old until you think you are.
block number, and I picked my daughter up from school who's 13, and I said, "Catherine, I keep getting these block numbers. You know, can you help me out here and block the blocked ones?" And she said, "No, Mom, you can't do that." So we hit play, and it was, "Hi, this is so-and-so from the White House, and we'd like to invite you up." And she said, "Aren't you glad you didn't block that number?" And yes, I was.
Yeah.
And
we're going to talk about a lot of things, but I want to start off by reminiscing a little bit. You were a quarterback at Wilkes Central for Red Hoffman during the time when, among other things I was doing, was broadcasting the Hickory High games on the radio. And I remember a couple of games, you were the only team that could beat Hickory. They went through and killed everybody else, but always the Wilkes Central game was really tough. And I should say John was a two-time All-State quarterback, I believe, at Wilkes Central. Had a great career there.
Well, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But those Hickory-Wilkes Central games were terrific games. That was a great rivalry.
It was a great rivalry.
Both high.
There's one that
very
you
appropriate
think of with Elvis that
White Christmas.
Blue
Christmas.
There you go.
Blue Christmas, yeah.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree won't be the same, dear, if you're not here with me. And when those blue snowflakes start falling, that's when those blue memories start calling. You'll be doing alright with your Christmas of white, but I'll have a blue Christmas.
All right.
Now, if my ear is correct, you nailed that key, right? That was exactly in B flat. I think you.
Was that in B flat? Very, right.
It was an Elvis key, is all I know.
So dead on that I could hear the statesman in the background doing the vocals.
Absolutely. Okay, well, if any young boys and girls are watching, that's something that sounds like a great opportunity that we need to be watching out for. There you have it, folks. You've heard it. Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for watching our program.